Hi everybody, and welcome to the next edition of the Lockdown Interviews, where we interview people from the Sheffield City region who've done some great things. I'm delighted to have Andrew Claypole here from Reach Students. Hi Andrew, how you doing?
Hi, I'm great, thank you.
Good stuff. So I know you've been doing some really cool stuff during lockdown. So first and foremost, just tell us a little bit more about who you are, what Reach does.
Yeah, so we are Reach Studios. We're a digital agency, obviously from Sheffield. We've been established, it's actually our 10-year, just past our 10-year anniversary, back in June. So we do everything from sort of web applications, software development, mobile applications, through to a bit of digital marketing as well. We're quite a smallish team, but growing pretty fastly.
Great, so thanks for the introduction. So tell us first, the first question I ask everybody is always about at what time did they realise there was going to be an issue? We knew that there may be a sort of a health issue over maybe a prolonged period of time, but I don't think anybody could have envisaged what the country's actually been through over what is now 4 months. So when did you realise that it was going to be potentially an issue commercially?
So we actually work with a few logistics companies. And back in sort of January, we'd heard a couple of rumours, but like being honest, we just kind of didn't really look into it too much. So it wasn't right really until I would say the start of March for us that it kind of became very, very aware that stuff was happening. So quite a few of our clients who we do our sort of common monthly work with, quite a lot of the retainer sort of clients, kind of put us on hold a little bit. So we thought alarm bells are ringing a little bit to that. And then some of the projects that we had planned for, I think they would start sort of April, June, got put on hold as well. So that was kind of our first real alarm bells of, right, there's something kicking off like for everybody really, and this is going to have a real knock-on effect. So yeah, I'd say we probably should have took note from some of our clients back in January with a bit more notice. But yeah, really, it started to hit in March.
Yeah, it was the same case with a lot of people that we saw it all developing across the pond.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody could have really envisaged, even at the beginning of all this, that there was talking about shaking elbows instead of shaking hands, but that's really what was saying at the beginning, not going to be closing everything down. So a few of the projects that you had in the pipeline got put on ice, and a couple of the businesses that you did retention work with sort of put you on hold. So that must have been a pretty scary time, especially running an SME with a tight ship. So what did you do? What did you have to change in order to sort of push through it?
So obviously everyone was in the same boat, sort of March. The work from home thing was a necessity for everybody. So that was the first kind of, call to action. Let's get everyone home, get all the equipment sent. That was pretty challenging, to be fair, because we have a lot of like sort of network setups in the office, and some of our clients who are on obviously the NHS side of stuff, it's very secure and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of what we did, get everyone sort of working from the home environment, make sure everyone's set up. And I think sort of connectivity as well. Obviously people who, like for me, I live in the sticks, and a few of the other guys do, so it's looking at how the 4G sort of thing, using the boxes, not relying on BT internet.
Using 4G when you run a digital company.
Yeah, we ended up buying like 6 EE boxes to get everyone on back up and running. But and I think it came apparent then that Zoom was going to be the norm, or Teams, or which everyone uses different ones depending on which sort of client. And also sort of for us being in the office for our sort of smaller projects, we don't tend to use much project management software on the smaller things. We kind of just speak to each other, and so it was about getting all that kind of infrastructure set up to prepare everyone for the work from home.
Yeah, and everybody obviously went through that because everybody's doors were shut other than essential items. So that must have been a challenging time to go through all that. So you're now you've lost a couple of retainer clients, and you've gone to work from home, getting 4G things installed to actually make sure that you've got the connectivity. I've got a different challenge. My internet at home is really good, but I had two girls at home that had just found Disney streaming service, so that was a difficulty for me. So what wins have you seen? Obviously, we're now 4 months on. There was a new norm, let's say, that you had to start working to. So what wins have you seen?
So, yeah, we kind of out of the blue, we do a lot of work with the NHS, various different departments, down in either the offices down in London or Birmingham, Leeds. And one of the directors contacted us to basically, could we whip together a project for them, which was in sort of launch with the Nightingale Hospital down at the XL. So this project was for, basically it's a website containing information and infographics and support content to help aid the staff who have got direct sort of connections with the COVID situation. So even people down to porters, to doctors and nurses, all the way up to the kind of bigwigs who were doing all the predictions with the stats, people who are directly affected. So we were given a super tight timeline to get that pretty much up and live ready, which was fun for us. It was fun, but it was also very eye-opening because we got to see a lot of the content and hear a lot of the stories before it was on the news. So it was quite scary, really, because you were getting some people saying, "Oh, we don't believe in this COVID nonsense" and things like that. And then we were seeing this other stuff, and we were thinking, "Wow, wait till this comes out." And but yeah, that was good. It was really sort of a good combination of speaking with their teams and their different departments, people putting real good content together, to signing it off, to illustrations, infographics, app stuff, to all sorts of things. And we're still working on that now, so that's become a bigger project. We also managed to launch a product for Nestle during lockdown, which was good. That was actually, it should have gone live kind of in March, but that got pushed back, but they managed to gather the team together to do it. And we did loads of Zoom sort of webinars and tutorials on how to use it, where the install, speaking with our IT team. We got that going, and then we won a couple of e-commerce sites and kind of smaller projects, but nice to see that there was work there coming in still, not just scarily quiet. So yeah, we actually got way more work than planned, which is good. And I suppose on the back of that, our wins kind of, we put some recruitment out there. We needed some more bodies on our side, so that's a really good win for me if we can bring more people on during that situation, to cope with the work and cope with the workload. It was really good for us.
Right, so you went from a situation where worst case scenario is the clients were dropping off, and then sort of projects were being put on hold, to actually going from that to recruiting. Wow. So what are some of the sort of biggest challenges that you had to overcome over the last 4 months? And obviously we're not out of the woods just yet. No.
I think the first big challenge was, like I mentioned before, the connectivity and the 4G boxes. That being a development company, for our development team to be working on these projects, we need to be all connected, version control, all that sort of stuff. So that was a massive challenge in itself. Trying to get, like, I was probably the first and second week just running around trying to find the best 4G boxes. Obviously, people who, I think one of our devs lives in Stocksbridge. His home internet's shocking, and he has no 4G in that area. So it was working out the best provider to get him up and running. And I suppose once we got that sorted, that kind of helped once everyone was up online. And I think motivation was a challenge. Some of the guys have never worked from home. I've worked from home before, like years ago, always back and forth, and a few of the senior guys have. But just physically getting people to get up at 9 or before 9, get a shower, get freshened up, get working, and then kind of knowing when to down tools, and then like go and have a lunch break, have a break, finish at 5 or finish when when you're ready, not just come back into the kitchen and think, oh, I'll tinker about with these emails till then you look at it, it's 2 a.m. and everyone's worn out. So I think that motivation and time sort of planning and things.
One of the biggest things that I went through with all my clients at the beginning, which is, it might sound ridiculous, but planning your days out now, start, breaks, when you're sort of working on it, when you're working hard, when your foot off, was so important from a motivational standpoint. Because when you start working from home, everything's home work, everything's all in the same space.
Yep.
You're just going to create a working area, where you go and work from there was so important.
Yeah, and I think for me, I was working in my kitchen and having the fridge at the side of me was like the worst thing, because it was like, oh, quick snack or quick pop or something. It's difficult, to try and get out of that.
Yeah, that must have been some real challenging times. So, if you could go back in time, then. In fact, no, let me ask you a different question. So, out of the adjustments and changes that you made, 4G connectivity aside, what are some of the things that you've learned that you're going to keep on doing?
I think we're going to keep on the kind of remote working. As the problem we had was we'd already sort of organised a lease for a new office because we were upgrading from Kelham Island up to Hillsborough. So we've had to kind of get the bodies back in. But I would have probably left that for the time being. So going forward, I think we're going to allow, obviously, the working from home, because people got used to it with the families and got used to that kind of lifestyle. So we're going to keep that kind of in the mix.
Lots of people said that it actually improved efficiency and increased productivity, and so lots of people are sort of looking at that flexibility in regards to coming to the office versus not coming to the office. I think lots of people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think so we're having a lot of obviously stand-up Zoom meetings in the morning and the afternoon, just even having a bit more of a social Zoom with them. So we're going to continue that, but in real sort of person, real time. So just connecting with everyone, making sure everyone's all right and adjusting back into the flow of being in an office. I think it's hugely important that just to make sure everyone's all right.
I've said a few times on these interviews now that whilst I appreciate sort of the health impact that COVID's had on so many people, there's the other side of it in regards to people that haven't had the virus but have actually got something else now. There's mental challenges through being isolated for so long, and actually creating winning teams going forward is going to be so important.
Yeah.
So going back to what you said a little bit earlier on, if only we knew what we know now. So if you could go back to the 1st of March, I think I know what you're going to say here, but if you could go back to the 1st of March, what would you have done sooner?
We'd have, I think, equipment from a tech point of view, we would have given everyone laptops, because we had a few desktops, which was a bit logistical nightmare, and kind of back to your 4G situation, sorting that out. Like it would have been nice to have a heads up.
Relationship with somebody at BT.
Yeah. So having that would have helped us massively. And I think even, it sounds daft, but like we didn't really get a chance to say bye. Like it sounds weird, like it's a crazy relationship, but just to brief the guys saying like, right, it's probably going to be tough. You're going to have to adjust the way you work and the way you kind of live your life for a few months. Just having a kind of little social gathering and a little team kickoff before we went, but it was kind of like, right, got to go, rush, everyone gets set up.
It was given to a lot of people in that way. I've said in the interviews before this as well. Fortunately or unfortunately for my clients, I briefed them end of February, saying it's probably going to happen, and they all thought I'd shook a 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of people, it was that Boris Johnson sort of speech in regards to, look, if you've not shut your office, shut it from tomorrow. So lots of people, wow, that's it, done, finished, over. So I don't think it's crazy you saying that. It would have been nice to say goodbye and look, we don't have to get that camaraderie, that kind of team spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
So look, some of the restrictions are now easing, although I would suggest that we're still in lockdown, because we can't go back to doing things that we normally do. We can't go to football, we can't go and meet our friends at the pub and stay there for as long as we want. It's different now. So what are you most looking forward to when all is over?
So I think the first thing really, which sounds a bit naff again, but with us moving offices, we've got this awesome new office that unfortunately we've had to put a bit of building on hold just with not being able to get the people. But I'm looking forward to like a bit of an office party to kind of bring, so the guys can bring the family in as well, and have a bit of a food and drink sesh really. It just feels a bit bare still, like we've not really moved. It's kind of just, we've just moved some tables and we're just carrying on and trying to get through it. But so yeah, I would say that, and then probably something like an event, or just it would have been good to go to like tramlines or
no tramlines,
escape rooms or anything like that. Just to go out for the day and maybe give them all a pat on the back to say well done for coping. And yeah, it'd be good to get out, I think.
Yeah, I think loads of people have said similar things, that we've taken for granted mass gatherings.
Yeah.
In the past, the ability to just drop tools, go somewhere with 100 people, and never really think about it. And I think one of the concerning things for me is when that is allowed, how many people will actually do it?
Yeah. How many people might be a bit hesitant and
a little wary. You see the pubs now are open, and I know that you'll see in the media about thousands of people outside the pub. That's not actually happened. So people, publicans in that trade, are finding it really difficult. This is my favourite question to ask people as part of the series, because I'm all about personal development and how people develop as human beings. So what have you learned about yourself over the last 4 months?
Quite a bit, actually. I think I'm a bit of a micromanager, and a bit of a control freak sometimes, which when nobody's with me, I can't do that. Otherwise, I'm phoning them every 2 minutes. So I think I've learned really to trust some of the guys a bit more, especially some of the directors and team leaders, to kind of manage those projects without me. It doesn't really need my input and my nosiness and checking in on everyone, because that probably must annoy them. So I think that is a positive that I've learned, that we can actually get products and projects done on time, get them out there without me having a look at what they're doing.
Well, thing as well, autonomy is great with people. The fact that you've learned that and are now going to do something with it. I always talk about, in every crisis, there's two things to focus on. One is danger.
Yeah.
And everybody went in danger and watch out. But the other side is opportunity. There's opportunities to be learned. So the fact that you've gone, I'm a little bit of a micromanager, and need to give people a little bit of space for them to have that creative thinking, that creative thought, and push things forward is a great thing to learn. So Andrew, thanks ever so much for doing the lockdown interviews.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Hope to see more from Reach going forward.
Cool. Thank you very much.